Tim Pierce. I asked Man About Town and fellow guitarist Aidan Scrivens to bring over a brand new song and save me from teaching something from 1967. So he brought over Dua Lipa's Don't Start Now. We did a 2-guitar arrangement. We talk about that. But then I realized it's a whole nother ball game when you have to fit around her vocals. So then I move right to trying to come up with guitar parts around her vocal, which is a whole different challenge. Click the link below if you want to check out the masterclass. We're up to over 1,000 videos and over 100 hours of lessons and content. You pointed out to me that the actual song is E, B, G, D, A, and then back to E.
Yeah, so it's perfect. If you go out of tune in the middle of covering this song, you can tune up without muting yourself. You just have to wait for the chords to change.
Yeah, so it's natural for guitar, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the way you went to a kind of an opposite place. I started out on the E minor, and then I went to the B minor, and then when it lands on the G, sometimes I went, and then other times I kind of played around here, and other times I just landed on the D because I knew it was a common tone. And then I tried every time to kind of do a D to A thing when the music went from D to A. Maybe something like that.
Yeah.
And for you, I like what you did because you played a sparse part on the first 2 cycles and a more active part on the second 2. Can you show me?
Yeah. Well, I was kind of trying to think in that kind of Max Martin pop production style of you build or add something new every sort of 4 bars or something like that. Yeah. And so at first it's that kind of sparse. The second time I sort of, after that 1 or 2 cycles, can't help but go a little Nile Rodgers on it. I'm stopping just short of going every single time, but then into more like a...
Really hard to find something here in the first verse, and partly it's because it sounds great without guitar, but also in the first verse you want to be so minimal if you are playing along with a singer that it's sometimes hard to find. And for me, the way I would describe it, I'm like a rubber band and I pull you away from the vocal, but when I let go of the rubber band and I disappear and it comes back to the vocal, it's right in your face. So my goal is to percolate just around the vocal and actually make the vocal more present when it comes back and I disappear. And this is not like Instagram. This is where you actually have to do less and then do less and then do less to actually support the vocal and the pocket. So let's look at this.
Did a full 180, crazy.
Those are answers. They're muted. They're panned all the way to one side so that the vocal is in the center and I can be small. I can even turn this down and you'll still hear it because I'm panned all the way to one side. Let's do it again.
Did a full 180, crazy. Thinking about the way I was. Did the heartbreak change me? Maybe, but look at where I ended up. I'm all good.
There is a change up on the second half because I want to be surprising, but the idea is just to be a percussionist or a tiny element that actually adds a little bit of interest and keeps bringing you back to the vocal right in your face. Okay, now we go to the second half. The vocal changes. It's a different lyric. It's a different cadence.
I'm all good already, so moved on. It's scary. I'm not where you left me at all. So
Because I've turned myself down, I can play really kind of aggressively and constantly. And that's the other thing. Sometimes when you play constantly, it actually disappears in a nice way because you get used to it and you're able to listen to the vocal intently because this thing is constant and it's not stopping and starting in the background. So that's another way to actually support, is actually to play something very simple and rhythmic constantly, very much like a percussionist. Yeah, it was nice the way you built that second half. It was really cool. And then I chose on the B section of the song to go West Montgomery. It's more Nile Rodgers than West Montgomery. Maybe it's a combination.
Yeah.
And then you did a nice kind of chordal thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Just, whilst you're doing something pretty on top, no sense in overcomplicating things.
I also like what you did because I took the busy side. I left, my thing is kind of a wall of sound. And for you, you took a restful, kind of less busy approach, which I always try and do when I work on a record with another guitar player. Whatever that person is doing, I try and go to the opposite corner. And it might mean that I play something very simple.
Yeah.
You know, if that person is doing a lot, like the records I've done with Ray Parker Jr., he plays that stuff really well. So I have to do something more legato, more like what you just did when I play with someone like that.
Yeah.
You know? And indeed, when we first sat down, we were both playing a percolating part and kind of on top of each other. And I politely asked you if I could play that part.
Oh, but it's not, because, it had to be said, and you were really good at saying it, because otherwise, it's one of those things where you're just stepping on each other's toes otherwise. And
so we didn't have this separation instantly.
Yeah.
Took us a second to go, oh, I'll do this, you do that.
Yeah.
And I love your part because there's a lot of space in between the notes, and it allowed me the freedom to kind of speak through it. Don't be afraid if the other guy is playing busy and he's playing great, then it's your job to play less busy and play great.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, I feel like it's a thing. Like a good guitar, part of being a good guitarist is making, when the other person's being busy, is make that sound better.
Yeah, right. Make the music sound better, the song sound better, the arrangement, the orchestration.
Right.
Make it sound better. Reduce your ego at times, and then bring your ego super far forward and step out at times. It's the same thing. You got to be able to do both. You really do.
Exactly.
Thanks for bringing that song over.
Oh, of course. Thank you.
So this next section is broken down, and I really love it. Doesn't need guitar. There is a guitar part in it. It might be a sample. It's this kind of thing. You can kind of hear it emerge here and there behind the vocal, and it adds kind of a nice rhythm to it. What I'm going to do is try a wah-wah doing that, because my main goal here is to play an ambient part, which I worked on and I found. So eventually I was able to turn on a bunch of pedals and do an ambient arpeggio part, which I'll show you in a second. But to support that, I wanted to increase the rhythmic kind of sense underneath it, because the guitar part that's on the record is so low you can't kind of tell. So what I am doing is I'm turning on the click, and then I've activated the wah-wah pedal, which is pretty rare these days. Wah, you don't use it much these days. I actually like to use it to make vowel sounds when I'm playing leads, but that's a whole another story. For rhythm, it gets a little kitschy if you use wah these days. But in this section, it kind of works. It's turned way down and it's kind of in the background. I'll show you.
If you don't wanna see me dancing with somebody, if you wanna believe that anything could stop me, don't show up.
So that part is already there. It's either a guitar or a sample of a guitar. So I'm basically doubling it with a wah that's kind of dancing around and, opening it at odd times, just kind of being playful. And this can be turned way down. So once again, it's just like a percussionist. So here's my next part. This is it. I searched for it for a while. And in order to get it, I stomped on a bunch of pedals. I have my Echo Park doing delays, the Dark World for a reverb, the MXR reverb, and then my old VB2 vibrato. So it's got a ton of stuff on it. And I'm picking super soft so it sounds gentle. And I'm going to turn it down in the track so it's in its rightful place. It also gets doubled So one's on each side, and it makes it spatial and ambient, and everything is strong in the center. This part is way out to the sides and kind of floating. I do keep the click on because, there's not a strong downbeat in this section, so the click helps me temporarily. Let me show you.
If you don't wanna see me dancing with somebody, if you don't believe that anything could stop me, don't show up.
I even really love the trail it leaves when I stop playing. And it kind of turns all the chords into different chords because this one thing, ostinato part, is shaping all the chords into different things as they pass underneath. Now let me play with Pro Tools and the mix to show you a little bit more about this. Here they are soloed. Okay, it sounds solid. Now, when I was creating this part a second ago, it was too loud in the mix. And you got to be very careful. A part like this, if it's too loud in the mix, it's not the right part. It becomes the right part sometimes when you bring it down really, really low. And a part like this can be very, very low. What I'm going to do, take it down to infinity. I've got the two sides grouped. And I'm going to bring it up slowly to show you how quiet this can be in the mix and be most effective, still support the vocal, create kind of a dream around the actual vocal and the keyboards and everything that's happening.
So if you don't wanna see me dancing with somebody, if you wanna believe that anything could stop me, don't show up, don't come.
So considerably softer than I recorded it. When you record something, it needs to be loud so you can hear what you're doing and concentrate on the part. But then, as in a situation like this, bring it down really soft so it becomes part of the orchestra, as it were.
If you don't wanna see me dancing with somebody, if you wanna believe that anything could stop me, don't show up, don't come out.
Some ways that's the part I love the most is that big cloud that happens at the end, so I goosed it way up. There's sort of an instrumental section near the end of the song. I found a cool part for it, I think. Here we go.
Don't stop now. I'm not where you left me at all. So if you don't wanna
I would never do that lick at the end, but why not? One last flurry. So the timing of this is crucial. And if I don't get it right on time, it doesn't work. It has to be. Let me try one more time.
Don't stop now. I'm not where you left me at all. So if you don't,
One more time. Here we go.
don't stop. Don't stop now. I'm not where you left me at all. So if you don't wanna.
That was pretty good. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. If you are a subscriber, please ring the bell. It lets us let you know every time a new video is released. You can also support us by clicking the link below for the online masterclass. As I always say, we're up to over 100 hours of lessons and content, over 1,000 videos, and we add more every month. There's a 14-day free trial. Take your time, take a long look. We'd love to have you join us.